Welcome back to Beyond the Unknown, where we like to dive deep into these moments that have shaped the world we live in. I'm Alex Carter.
And I'm Livy Reyes, always up for a mind-blowing journey.
So today we're looking at AI, specifically the launch of ChatGPT
ChatGPT, yeah, I remember when that first came out.
back in November 2022.
Yeah, everyone was talking about it, but I have to admit, it just seemed like another tech thing. I didn't really get why it was such a big deal at the time.
But you're not alone. A lot of people didn't. But a report that we're looking at calls it a watershed moment.
Oh, wow.
And not just for the tech industry, but for society as a whole.
A watershed moment, huh? That's a pretty strong statement.
Yeah.
What makes it so significant?
Well, I think to really understand that we need to kind of set the stage a bit.
Okay.
This report talks about how conversational AI, the kind that ChatGPT represents, has been a long time coming.
Oh, so it wasn't like an overnight thing.
No, not at all. There's been research and development in this area for decades.
Okay, so there was like a build-up to this.
Yeah, exactly. There are these early language models and advancements in machine learning, a whole history that leads up to this point.
That makes sense. So where does OpenAI fit into all of this? I've heard the name, but I'm not really sure what they do.
So OpenAI is the company behind ChatGPT.
Okay.
And this report highlights how they were founded by some pretty big names,
Oh, yeah. Like who?
like Elon Musk and Sam Altman.
Wow, okay.
And they had this goal, this ambitious goal of creating AGI, artificial general intelligence.
AGI. I've heard that term before, but remind me what that means.
So AGI is basically the idea of creating AI that isn't just limited to specific tasks.
Okay.
It would be capable of learning and problem solving across a wide range of domains, basically thinking for itself like a human.
Wow, that's ambitious.
It is. So how does ChatGPT fit into this pursuit of AGI?
Yeah, I'm curious.
Well, ChatGPT came out of their work on language models,
Oh?
specifically the GPT series, GPT-1, GPT-2, GPT-3.
GPT.
Each version building on the last, getting more and more sophisticated.
Okay. And GPT-3 was a pretty big leap forward, right? I remember hearing about that.
This report mentions how GPT-3 was already really good at generating text.
Really?
You could give it a prompt, and it could write anything, poems, code, you name it.
Wow.
But there was a catch.
Okay, what was the catch?
While it was good at generating text, it wasn't so good at actually holding a conversation.
Oh, so it wasn't very conversational.
Right. It would often miss context or give responses that felt disjointed, almost robotic.
So it was missing that human touch.
Exactly. And that's where ChatGPT really changed the game.
Okay, how?
It was built on GPT 3.5, but they added something revolutionary:
What was that?
reinforcement learning from human feedback.
Reinforcement learning from human feedback. What does that mean?
So basically, they had humans train the model,
Oh, interesting.
giving it feedback on its responses. They would reward it for good responses and penalize it for bad ones.
So it learned through interaction.
Exactly, through conversation with people.
Pretty amazing.
It is. And that's what made it so good at following instructions, answering follow-up questions, and just generally sounding more natural and engaging.
I can see why people were so excited about it. It was like nothing we'd seen before.
It was. The report describes its launch as a cultural phenomenon.
Wow.
People were using it for everything: writing emails, composing music, even having philosophical debates with the AI.
That's incredible. So it wasn't just a technological breakthrough, it was a cultural one.
I think you're right. And its influence has just grown since then.
Really?
This report highlights how it's being used in such a wide range of industries now, from education to healthcare to entertainment.
Wow, so it's not just a novelty anymore. It's actually being integrated into our lives. That's pretty mind-blowing. Can you tell me more about how it's being used in different industries?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It really is. This report dives into some fascinating use cases. I mean, some of them sound straight out of science fiction.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Let's start with education. Because I've heard a lot about how ChatGPT is being used in classrooms, but I'd love to get a clearer picture.
Yeah, so the report talks about how it's being used for everything from personalized tutoring to creating these interactive learning experiences.
Personalized tutoring? So imagine every student having their own AI tutor
Right.
that adapts to their own learning style and pace. That's pretty incredible.
It is. And it could be a game changer for students who struggle in traditional classroom settings or need extra support in certain subjects.
Yeah, it could level the playing field in a way that traditional education often struggles to do.
Exactly. And it could also free up teachers to focus on the things that AI can't do,
Oh, like what?
like mentoring students, fostering creativity, and inspiring a love of learning.
That makes sense. So it's not about replacing teachers,
Right.
but giving them more tools and support to do what they do best.
Precisely.
Hmm.
The report also mentions how ChatGPT is being used to create these really engaging learning experiences. Like imagine virtual field trips powered by AI or simulations that allow students to experiment in a safe and controlled environment.
Oh, I love that. Bringing learning to life in a way that textbooks and lectures just can't.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And it could be especially powerful for subjects that are hard to grasp through traditional methods,
like history.
right? Like imagine learning about history by having a conversation with an AI that can access and synthesize information from countless historical sources.
That would be amazing. Or learning about science through interactive simulations where you can test hypotheses and see the results in real time.
The possibilities are pretty mind-blowing.
They are. But I imagine there are also challenges
Oh yeah, of
that
course.
need to be addressed.
Right. One of the big ones is accessibility.
Okay.
How do we ensure that all students have access to these AI-powered educational tools, regardless of their background or location?
Yeah, that's a crucial point. We don't want to create a system where only privileged students benefit from these advancements.
Right. And then there are concerns about things like cheating. If students can use ChatGPT to write essays or complete assignments, how do we maintain academic integrity?
That's a tough one. It seems like educators will need to adapt their teaching methods and assessments to account for AI. Maybe we'll see a shift towards some more project-based learning and assessments that focus on critical thinking and creativity skills that are harder for AI to replicate.
I think you're right. It'll be fascinating to see how education evolves alongside these AI advancements.
Okay, so education is one big area. What about the workplace? How is ChatGPT changing things there?
So the report highlights how it's already transforming industries like customer service marketing and even software development.
I have definitely noticed a lot more chatbots popping up on websites. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, a lot of companies are now using ChatGPT-powered chatbots to handle those initial customer inquiries, provide basic support, and even resolve simple issues.
Makes sense. They're available 24/7, they don't need breaks, and they can handle a large volume of requests all at once.
Exactly. And they can often resolve issues more quickly and efficiently than human agents, especially for those routine tasks.
But what about situations that require a human touch? Empathy and understanding that maybe only a person can provide.
That's a good point. And the report does acknowledge that there are limitations to AI in those kinds of situations.
Okay.
It suggests that the most effective approach is often a combination of AI and human interaction, using each to its strengths.
So AI could handle those initial interactions and then pass things off to a human agent when a situation requires more complex problem solving or emotional intelligence.
Exactly, finding that synergy between human and artificial
Does
intelligence.
that make sense?
Um,
Okay, so customer service is one area. What about marketing?
well, the report talks about how ChatGPT is being used to create more targeted and effective marketing campaigns.
Oh, wow.
It can analyze huge amounts of data to understand consumer behavior and preferences and then personalize messages.
So instead of getting those generic mass emails,
Right.
I might start seeing messages that are actually relevant to me.
Exactly. It could be pretty cool. But there are also concerns about how this technology could be used to manipulate or exploit consumers.
Right, because if AI can understand our behavior so well, could it be used to influence our decisions in ways that maybe aren't in our best interest?
That's a valid concern. And the report suggests that ethical guidelines and regulations will be crucial to make sure these powerful AI tools are used responsibly and that consumer privacy is protected.
Makes sense. Okay, so we've got customer service marketing. What about content creation?
Oh, yeah. The report highlights how ChatGPT is changing the world of content creation as well.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, it can be used to generate all sorts of content, blog posts, articles, social media updates, even scripts for videos.
Wow. So does that mean robots are going to take over the creative industry? Are writers and artists going to be out of a job?
Not necessarily. The report suggests that it's more about AI augmenting human creativity, not replacing it.
What do you mean by that?
Well, think of it as a tool that can help writers overcome writer's block, generate new ideas, or even improve their writing style.
Okay.
It can also help content creators produce more content in less time, freeing them up to focus on the more strategic and creative aspects of their work.
So it's like having a super-powered assistant
Exactly.
that can handle some of those more tedious or time-consuming tasks.
Right. And it can also open up new creative possibilities.
Like what?
Like a writer could use ChatGPT to experiment with different writing styles or to translate their work into other languages.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It seems like AI could democratize content creation in a way that wasn't possible before.
You're right. Giving more people the tools and resources to share their stories and ideas with the world. But as with any powerful technology, there are concerns about how it will be used and who will benefit from it.
Right. Will it create a more level playing field, or will it just amplify existing inequalities?
That's the big question, and it's one that we need to be thinking about carefully as AI continues to evolve.
Okay, so we've talked about education, customer service marketing, and content creation. What other industries are being impacted by ChatGPT?
Well, the report dives into quite a few, but one that's particularly fascinating is software development.
Oh, interesting. I'm curious about that one. I know a little bit about coding, and it seems like something that AI could potentially automate. Is that what's happening?
Well, it's not quite that simple. While AI can automate certain aspects of coding, the report suggests that it's more about AI and human developers working together.
Okay. What do you mean?
So think of it like this. AI can help developers generate code snippets, identify and fix bugs, and even suggest solutions to complex programming problems.
Okay.
And this can save developers a lot of time and effort, allowing them to focus on the more creative and challenging aspects of their work.
So instead of replacing programmers, AI is making them more efficient and productive.
Exactly. And it's also opening up new possibilities in software development.
How so?
For example, AI can help developers create more personalized and adaptive applications that cater to the unique needs of individual users.
That's pretty cool. It
Yeah,
seems like AI is pushing the boundaries of what's possible in software development.
you're right. And it's not just about making things more efficient, it's also about making things more human-centered.
Okay, I'm really starting to see the potential here. AI isn't just about automation and efficiency. It's about enhancing human capabilities and creating a more personalized and adaptable world.
Exactly. And speaking of a more human-centered world, we can't talk about the impact of ChatGPT without discussing healthcare.
Oh, yes, healthcare. I've heard about some incredible things happening with AI in that field. Tell me more.
Well, the report goes into detail about how AI is being used to improve patient care diagnosis and treatment.
Okay.
Imagine a world where AI can help doctors diagnose diseases earlier and more accurately, personalize treatment plans, and even predict potential health risks before they become serious problems.
It's like having a virtual medical expert by your side.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it has the potential to revolutionize healthcare as we know it.
But I imagine there are also a lot of ethical considerations when it comes to using AI in healthcare.
Absolutely. The report emphasizes transparency, accountability, and patient privacy. We need to make sure that AI is being used responsibly and ethically, and that patient rights are protected.
That's a critical point. And I imagine there are concerns about bias as well. If AI algorithms are trained on data that reflects existing healthcare disparities, they could end up perpetuating those inequalities.
You're right. That's why it's so important to have diverse and representative data sets when training AI algorithms and ongoing monitoring to make sure they're not exhibiting bias.
It seems like there's a lot of potential for good with AI in healthcare, but also a lot of responsibility to make sure it's used ethically and equitably.
I agree. It's a complex landscape, but one that's worth navigating carefully because the potential benefits are enormous.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Education, the workplace healthcare. Is there anything else in the report that stood out to you?
Well, I think what's really striking is how ChatGPT and AI in general is forcing us to rethink our relationship with technology.
What do you mean?
In the past, we often thought of technology as something separate from us, a tool. But with AI, the lines start to blur. We're interacting with machines that can learn, adapt, and even create in ways that were once thought to be uniquely human.
It's almost like AI is challenging our definition of what it means to be human.
Exactly. And it's raising all sorts of questions about consciousness, creativity, the future of our species.
Wow, this is getting deep.
It is.
But I love it. It's like we're on the verge of something truly transformative.
We are. And that's both exciting and a little bit scary.
I agree. So what does the report say about the future of AI? Where do we go from here?
Well, it doesn't exactly offer like a crystal ball,
Okay.
but it does highlight some key areas where AI is likely to have a big impact, in the coming years.
Okay, I'm all ears. What are some of those areas?
One that really stands out is the future of work.
Okay.
As AI becomes more sophisticated, it's inevitable that some jobs will be automated.
Right.
But the report also says that AI will create new jobs and new opportunities,
Oh, okay. In what areas?
particularly in areas like AI development, data science, and AI ethics.
So it's not just about jobs disappearing. It's more like a shift in the types of skills that will be needed.
Exactly. And the report suggests that we need to be thinking now about how we can prepare the workforce for this transition.
Okay. How do we do that?
Well, it means investing in education and training programs that focus on those skills that are uniquely human,
Okay.
skills that AI can't easily replicate.
You mean things like creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, emotional intelligence?
Exactly. Those are the skills that will be valuable in an AI-driven world.
I see.
And the report also talks about the importance of lifelong learning.
Okay.
As AI keeps evolving, we'll need to constantly be adapting and upskilling to stay ahead of the curve.
So it's not just learning new skills once and you're good. It's about continuous learning and adapting.
Absolutely. Another area where the report sees AI having a huge impact is in tackling some of the world's most pressing challenges,
Like what kind of challenges?
like climate change, poverty, disease.
Wow, those are big ones. How could AI help with things like that?
Well, for example, AI could be used to develop more efficient renewable energy sources, or to optimize resource allocation, or even personalize healthcare treatments.
It sounds like AI could really be a powerful force for good.
It could. But the report is careful to say that we also need to be aware of the potential downsides,
What do you mean?
the potential risks and unintended consequences of AI.
Okay, like what?
Like imagine if AI is used to develop autonomous weapon systems.
Oh,
That could have devastating consequences.
yeah, that's a scary thought. It
Yeah.
seems like we really need to be thoughtful about how we develop and use AI.
We do. We need to make sure it's used ethically and for the benefit of everyone, not just a select few.
Okay, so ethical guidelines and regulations for AI development are important.
Absolutely. And the report calls for everyone to get involved.
What do you mean, everyone?
Governments, businesses, researchers, the public, everyone needs to be a part of making sure that AI is developed and used responsibly.
So it's not just a tech issue, it's a societal one.
Exactly.
Yeah?
This report is really a call to action. It's saying that we can't just sit back and watch AI happen. We need to be actively shaping its development and making sure it's used for good.
Okay, so we need to be proactive, not reactive. What can individuals do to get involved?
Well, for starters, just stay informed about AI.
Okay.
Read articles, listen to podcasts, attend talks. The more you know about AI, the better equipped you'll be to engage in these conversations and advocate for responsible development.
Right. Knowledge is power.
Another thing you could do is support organizations that are promoting responsible AI.
Okay, are there any specific ones you'd recommend?
Oh, yeah, there are a number of groups doing great work in this area, like the Future of Life Institute,
Mm-hmm.
the partnership on AI, the AI Now Institute.
Okay, I'll have to check those out. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to just be mindful of how you're using AI in your own life.
That's a good point.
Are you using it ethically? Are you aware of the potential risks and biases?
Right. We can't just talk about AI in some abstract way. We need to think about how it's impacting our own lives and make conscious choices about how we interact with it.
Exactly. The future of AI is not some predetermined thing. It's something that we are shaping with our choices, our actions, our conversations.
That's powerful. It means we all have a role to play in creating the future we want.
Well, this has been an incredibly insightful deep dive.
It really has.
I feel like I've learned so much about ChatGPT, its implications, and just the wider world of AI.
Me too. It's something I'll definitely be thinking about a lot more, and I'm going to be paying more attention to how AI is evolving and impacting the world.
I think that's a great takeaway for all of us. This is a conversation that's just getting started, and it's one that we all need to be a part of.
Absolutely. The future of AI is in our hands, and it's up to us to make sure it's a future worth living in.
Well, thanks for joining me on this deep dive, Olivia. It's always great exploring these fascinating topics with you.
The pleasure was all mine, Alex. And to all our listeners out there, thanks for joining us on this journey beyond the unknown. Keep exploring, keep questioning, keep imagining the possibilities of